Hello, my name is Michael Brett Lavenstein. I am recording my video response for the week of October 5th. The article, which is Rethinking Racism Toward a Structural Interpretation, American Sociological Review. Um, First of all, before reading the article, I was thinking, oh, rethinking racism. What does that mean? Well, towards a structural interpretation for me means that a lot of people view racism as something that is missing a base. Well, no, a lot of people don't view it that way, but their view is missing the fact that racism has a much heavier foundation in society than one might think. It's a lot more complex than the one person may think in the typical day of today's culture. It extends millions of miles past simply using bad language and calling people racist names. Oh, it's way deeper of an issue than that, or of a concept than that. It's systemic and it is built into hundreds of years of societies throughout the world, especially the United States. And now, before I get into the article, something I read which stuck out to me was the habit of considering racism as a mental quirk, as a psychological flaw, must be abandoned. I really love that because before even reading the article, I completely agree with this sentiment. Why? Thinking racism is just a psychological flaw puts the blame on racism, and we ignore the complete system that has been constructed into society that is dedicated to the failure of people of color. What I mean by that is it's not just an individual issue or ideology. What causes people to have racist views? Well, it's not just having racist views, but it's built into our society. All the corporations have majority of corporations have white male CEOs, etc. And and those people probably were super privileged, and well, they already are privileged being white and men especially, and they've had resources given to them easily just by being themselves. While on the other hand, there's neighborhoods that are poverty stricken that don't receive proper resources, which I discussed in another video response. Um, Continuing, into the section of limitations of mainstream idealist views, on page 467, I quote, racism is excluded from the foundation or structure of the social system. When racism is regarded as a baseless ideology, ultimately dependent on the other real forces in society, the structure of society itself is not classified as racist. What are my comments? Well, this is a problematic view because racism isn't just a baseless ideology, as mentioned in the article. It is so real that it is physically built into every aspect of society of the United States as well as the world. The structure of society is indeed racist, all the way from the micro level to the macro level. And racism exists throughout the system, at the biggest parts of society and at the bottom. What I mean by that is involved in the government, in the police, and what other systems? It's in Congress. It's in many different parts of society. It's in our schools. It's in universities. It's in jails. It's in everything. I quote again, Marxists have attempted to distance their analysis from this purely ideological view. Solomos, 1986, Wolpe, 1988, and to ground racial phenomena in social relations, they do so by ultimately subordinating racial matters to class matters. And this can be found on page 467. And my comment about this is that that intersectionality exists. So, racial issues that exist are certainly going to be linked and threaded through class issues. And class issues are going to affect gender issues. So, for example, everything is connected, intertwined in many ways. So, if something affects a man of color, it most likely is going to affect women of color, and that's not the best example, but my point came across, I believe. So, for example, racial issues that affect gender issues would be, for example, issues that affect the black community are going to affect women too, because there's black women, of course. And issues that affect the LGBT community are going to snowball and be even worse for people who are of color of the LGBTQ community. And this psychological understanding of racism is related to the limitation that was cited above. I quote, and this quote says, "If racism is not a part of society but is a characteristic of individuals who are racist or prejudiced, that is, racism is a phenomenon operating at the individual level, then social institutions cannot be racist, and studying racism is simply a matter of surveying the proportion of people in a society who hold racist beliefs." And this is also on page 467. Now, if racism is not a part of society, it's saying that it's just putting the blame on individuals, but what makes up society? Individuals. So it's obviously going to affect. It's not just a phenomenon that operates at the individual level, which it does, but it's a lot more deep than that. It operates in social institutions, schools, universities, jails, Congress, the Senate, the White House. It operates throughout all parts of society, and it's not just people holding racist beliefs. It's way deeper of an issue than that. Excuse me. But anyway, that is my video. I conclude. Thank you so much. This was in response to the article of 20 years of critical race theory, looking back to move forward. Oh wait, no, I made a mistake. I meant to say this is response to Rethinking Racism Toward a Structural Interpretation, the American Sociological Review, Bonilla Silva, week of October 5th. And so thank you very much.